A lot of people believe that they cannot fulfill their life dreams, be it traveling or getting their dream job or spending enough time with family and loved ones, because they don't have enough time. But, here's the deal. It's not limited time that's the problem, it's actually bad time management. So, what is effective time management? Effective time management is the proper use of your time, that allows you to plan your days in such a way that you finish your work with less effort and make the most of the limited time you have got. Knowing how to manage your time properly is important as it brings a number of great benefits to your work routine and life overall. It helps you achieve your life goals faster. This is the most important part as to why managing your time is essential. Because, time is money. This expression comes from Benjamin Franklin. He wrote in a book in 1748 called, Remember That Time is Money. The meaning. Time is money means that in order to earn money, one must act and therefore utilize one's time efficiently, because time is a finite resource. It's priceless, you can't own it, but you can use it, you can't keep it, but you can spend it, and once it's lost you can never get it back. We offer our time, and in return, we earn a certain amount of money. Time equals money. Means saved money is also saved time, and gained money is gained time. Similarly, lost money is wasted time. If you study the life of most successful people in the world, you will realize that these people have utilized their time in the most efficient and effective way. Be it Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or Roger Federer or Lionel Messi, every one of us has the same 24 hours in a day. Now, it is up to an individual how these 24 hours needs to be spent, whether productively or killing the available time in unproductive ways. Lack of time is actually a lack of priorities. Imagine you had a heart attack or any medical emergency and now you can work for not more than 2 hours a day. So, the point is, unless there is an urgency in our lives, we tend to go lazy about things and often procrastinate. So, in this course we will discuss some tools and techniques of planning and prioritizing and effective time management. Let us understand the difference between efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency means doing things right, whereas effectiveness means doing the right things. Let us understand this with an example. Suppose you and your colleague lives in the same locality, in fact same apartment. Your office is 20 miles away. Ideally one should take 60 minutes to reach office every day. Now, you both have the same car. Both of you take the same route. But every day you take 80 minutes to reach your office. Once when you went along with him in his car, you realized that your colleague takes only 40 minutes. But you also learned that your friend drives rash. He drives fast. He breaks traffic signals on the way. On the other hand, you drive at an appropriate speed. You respect all signals and drive safe and steady. Now, you may be effective but not efficient. However, your colleague is efficient but not effective. So, the point is, in life, both personal and professional, one needs to be both efficient as well as effective. A combination of both is important. Therefore, we need to manage our time to be more efficient and manage ourselves to be more effective. In this section, let us understand some tools and techniques of planning and time management. Imagine, you reached office. So, how do you decide what to do now and what to do next? What to do in the first half and what to do in the second half? What tasks you can do today and what assignments you can push to tomorrow or day after? Do you have any such criteria that you use to decide or plan your day? How do you decide what is urgent, what is not so urgent, and what is important? So, when you do not have a plan, this is the starting point to lose control. Rather than being in the driving seat, you choose to be driven around and spend your time in unproductive ways. You are railroaded into other tasks and become a victim of time. So, it becomes very important to figure out the difference between urgent and important. Because, we work in a very challenging and dynamic environment. If we fail to identify the different demands of different tasks, we become unproductive. In the next lecture, we will discuss the difference between urgent and important. Let us understand this famous four-quadrant matrix in details to figure out the difference between urgent and important tasks. Here, you can see four quadrants. Let us call them Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. And, now let us begin with the first quadrant, which is urgent and important. What activities fall into this category? All activities that are deadline-driven, that means there is a target date or pressing needs that are looming closer or hovering over you, fall into this category. These are easy to identify. We prioritize these tasks because they have a deadline which is critical. For example, your boss has asked for a report to be submitted in next 2 hours. Or maybe a fire alarm. Or your kid is sick and you need to pick him up from school. Also, you can think of any such routine tasks like submitting a daily or weekly report to the management. All such activities are routine or procedural tasks that may not add value, but the boat will sink if not completed at a certain time. All such activities that fall into quadrant 1 are urgent, and they have become important because if you ignore them, they will have dire consequences. The next quadrant, Q2, is important but not urgent. These are the tasks that add value. These are beneficial for long-term planning and development. But if you ignore these tasks, tomorrow they will become urgent. They will move from quadrant 2 to quadrant 1. For example, learning a skill that will help you tomorrow in your job. Or exercising. Taking care of your health is important. If you do not exercise today and try to remain fit, tomorrow you might have to knock the doors of an ICU. Today it is important, but tomorrow it will become both urgent and important. Therefore, you have to make sure that you allocate time to do these tasks properly, so that tomorrow they do not move to quadrant 1. Coming to quadrant 3, these tasks are mostly interruptions. They may be urgent but not important. For example, some phone calls, or other people priorities. What may be a priority for them, may not be a priority for you. When people ask you for favor and you are involved in some other critical assignment. These are basically unimportant interruptions. Finally, moving to quadrant 4, these activities are neither important, nor urgent. Like Facebook, Instagram, unnecessary browsing, gossip and other distractions. But if you spend most of your time in this quadrant, you will be unproductive. So, now what is important is, in which quadrant do you spend most of your time in a day? Ideally, your focus should be in quadrant 2. Tasks that add value, that are important. You should focus and work around these important tasks. So, here is what you can do. An exercise for you which is very simple and straight. On your to-do list, if you have 10 tasks, circle these tasks as which is urgent and which is important, based on these quadrants. In the next lecture, we will discuss what we must do with the tasks of each of these categories, and finally we can decide, plan and act accordingly for greater efficiency and effectiveness. In the previous lecture, we discussed the urgent, important matrix. This is also called as the Eisenhower decision-making matrix, named after Dr. Dwight Eisenhower. Now, let us come to the decision-making part of the matrix, that is, what we must do. We call the first quadrant 2, as these tasks are very important and just need to be done, preferably on the same day and not later than the next day. These are the tasks that need to be done in order to avoid negative consequences. The second quadrant of the Eisenhower Matrix we call decide. These tasks are important but less urgent. Efficient time managers leave fewer things unplanned and therefore try to manage most of their work in the second quadrant. You must remember, only because these are not considered as urgent doesn't mean you shouldn't schedule realistic deadlines. You should organize and plan tasks like this into your daily and weekly to-do lists. This is the most important quadrant. The third quadrant tasks are less important to you than to others but still pretty urgent. These tasks can be delegated to someone in your team or any other colleague. But once delegated, you must also track the progress. The last quadrant is called delete because it makes you consider the things you should not be doing at all and delete them from your daily routine. Discover and stop the bad habits that basically are a complete waste of time and unproductive. Time offenders are basically your time wasters. Things that can be ignored with little or no consequences, like phone calls, some meetings, emails, gossips, etc. Let's see what we can do with these time offenders. The first thing you can do is to move towards check your emails not more than 3 to 4 times a day. Or when you feel there is an urgency. Rather than looking at it every 15 minutes or staring at your inbox all the time. Second, avoid meetings with no clear objectives. Meetings should be held to make decisions about a predefined problem, not to define a problem. So, always ask for an agenda. Answer a phone call with an, "I am in middle of something," approach. Not every call is important. But sure, they are distractions at time. Often you see some people feel the need to answer all their incoming calls, which are interrupters. Finally, quit social media. Social media is a parallel universe. It is a prime example of shallow living. It offers a little benefit. But it is not worth the time we give it. You simply cannot focus or concentrate on your important tasks if you feel the urge to hop onto social media every 5 minutes. You should let it go, because it is addictive. You should not spend more than 10 minutes a day on social media platform. Procrastination is the biggest time offender. It refers to the deliberate delay of intended action, in full knowledge that it may hamper the performance or even one's own feeling about it. For instance, if we have planned and determined to start exercising from tomorrow, we voluntarily delay going to the gym and give ourselves all sorts of excuses to start from the next week, or even next month. It is needless voluntary delay. We want to study for that upcoming exam. We want to see the doctor before it's too late. We want to clean the house before it gets dusty. But, whatever the reason, we feel a reluctance to take action. This is a puzzling aspect of procrastination. Why are we reluctant to act? It hampers our goal pursuit. In the process, it has become our worst enemy between us and our goal. Earlier in this course we have discussed about eat the frog technique. To deal with procrastination, let's discuss few other techniques to deal with this biggest time offender. Most of these tools and techniques have been adopted from the book Solving the Procrastination Puzzle by author Timothy A. Pitchell. The first method is to develop a strong willpower and focus on getting started. Procrastination is a form of self-regulation, self-control and willpower. You want to do something, but you lack the necessary willpower to follow through. This results in endless delaying of tasks. Therefore, we must focus on getting started. Getting things started helps you make that all-important step from non-doing to doing. Getting started leads to upward spirals of making progress. It makes you feel better about yourself and your belief. Next method is to understand and regulate your emotions. We procrastinate because of the negative emotions that makes us feel awful, and what we do is run away from these feelings. These tasks that we voluntarily delay are all because of the negative emotions associated with it, such as bored, anxious, angry, frustration and even bad mood. If we are serious about overcoming it, we need to be emotionally intelligent. The third method is to create some implementation intentions. An implementation intention helps you get started. It's your pre-decision so that you do not get caught up in thinking, choosing, deciding, so on and so forth. You have already made the decision, and now it's time to act. This is a powerful tool to move from intention to action. They are the very thing that helps us move from non-doing to doing. So, what are implementation intentions? They are the if and then plans that predetermine how you will act in a specific future situation. The if part sets a stimulus for action. The then part describes the desired action. Here are some examples for better understanding. If I come home from work early, I will go to the gym. If it's Sunday after breakfast, I will clean up the house. It helps in not only beating procrastination, but also achieving goal-related behavior. Our final method is to know what are our mind's excuses. We have a procrastination monkey inside our head that tells us, not now, some other time, some other day. It convinces us to delay our tasks, and unfortunately we get convinced. Procrastination creates cognitive dissonance. You should or want to be doing something, but you are not doing it. It feels uncomfortable. You find excuses to give in to feel good. Here are some common excuses in which we respond to this dissonance. The first excuse is trivialization. We tend to downplay the importance of the task we delay. We say to ourselves that this task is not that important. It is okay to do this later. The boat is not sinking here. Next is distraction. We simply divert our attention away from negative state of emotions or unpleasantness. We avoid the negative emotional state caused by dissonance. We also make downward counterfactuals. We self-affirm that it could have been worse. Finally, consonant cognition. This is a kind of excuse wherein we convince ourselves by saying, "Oh, come on. I am not procrastinating. I just need some more information before getting started." Therefore, we must first know these excuses to avoid them. Remember, procrastination is the main villain in your life that stops you from being productive. The first technique is eat that frog. This principle states that if you eat a live frog first thing in the morning, nothing worse can happen to you for the rest of the day. The frog is the most difficult task on your to-do list. We tend to procrastinate the most difficult tasks and actions. We give ourselves all sorts of excuses to postpone these tasks. So, on your to-do list, circle the frog which is most difficult task and complete the task first thing in the day. The second technique is battery level. This is a technique wherein your energy is compared to a cell phone's battery. Just like a phone's battery, our energy levels vary throughout the day. Through this technique you must identify your prime time. Let's understand how. We must know that we have 4 levels of energy during a day. First one is calm energy, ideal state for demanding tasks. Second is calm tiredness, feeling after task completion. Third one is tense energy, which is high adrenaline state, and finally tense tiredness, which is feeling of stressed out. Now what we must do is set your task timetable according to the battery level, our different level of energy. Therefore we must allocate the most demanding task on our to-do list at our prime time, when our battery level is high. When our energy is high. Thank you. One of the most important principle or technique of planning and organizing and time management is Pareto Principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. It is named after Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto. Let us understand what this technique means. It states that in any situation, 20% of the input results in 80% of the output. 20% of efforts gives 80% results. For example, you wear 20% of your clothes, 80% of the times. 20% of a company's customers accounts for 80% of its revenue. 20% videos in a YouTube channel generates 80% of subscribers. In a book, 20% pages contains 80% of most valuable information. Well, it could be 70-30 or even 90-10. But, the point is, majority of results comes from minority of causes. Now, let us see how this works in our work life. As we know, time is our most important resource. Most people think that working more hours will get them more results. There is a difference between being busy and being actually productive. We must understand that it is not about how much time we put in, but how well we spend that time. Because the inverse is also true. With 80% of non-productive work, you will get only 20% results. So, what's important is to identify 20% of those valuable and important tasks that will give us 80% results. It is also important because, if you have heard of this saying, if you chase 2 rabbits, you will end catching neither. We think we can improve everything at once. Most of us go through this journey, which is starting to improve everything. For some it may happen, but for most it does not. Like going to the gym, learning a new language, making YouTube videos, and meditate. You may fail to do all of these at once if you have not planned appropriately. So, here is what you need to do. On your to-do list, identify those 20% of valuable tasks that will give 80% of tangible results. Apply the 80-20 rule. This is another technique called as build a bunker. Well, you don't have to really build a bunker here. There is a story behind this technique. Once, there was a writer who was paid a good amount of advance for completing a book by a famous publisher. The publisher did give a deadline of 1 year to the writer to complete the book. However, the writer, for long 11 months, did not write a single word and spent all the advance money. One day, he got a call from the publisher reminding him of the book. The publisher also warned him of blacklisting him and taking the money back, in case the writer did not complete the book on time. Greatly worried, now the writer built a bunker for himself and locked himself up for a month, avoiding any contact with the outside world. This way, it helped him to complete the story. He was determined and did avoid any interruptions. So, building a bunker means, when you have a task on your hand which requires focus and undivided concentration, you identify a place. A bunker for you. Here, bunker means your most productive workspace. It can be a dedicated place in your home or in your office which helps you avoid interruptions while you give your 100% focus. So, this is build a bunker technique to deal with important tasks. You just need to find your own productive workspace. Welcome. And thank you for the time devoted by you for this course until now. Hope we have given you some techniques that will help you with improving your skills. Let us move to our next time management secret, which is mind maps. Mind mapping is a creative note-making technique wherein you map out your ideas. This is a graphical note-making tool which helps you to gather all your ideas at one place. This gives you a holistic view of your project or task at hand. Unlike traditional note-making, which is a linear text, in a mind map the information, tasks are put in a structured way. This is effective because this graphical representation of your to-do list in a mind map format is in line with how your brain works. Mind mapping is a tool for the brain that captures the thinking that goes on inside your head. Mind mapping helps you think, gather knowledge, remember and create ideas. So, this is how a mind map looks. There is a central idea and branches denotes the sub-ideas or tasks that you need to do with reference to your central idea. Let's understand this better with an example of how to draw a mind map. You start with the middle of a blank page on your notebook, or a piece of paper. Then, you write your central idea in the middle. Let's say your central idea is, you have a new project, and you need to plan or manage the project. So, here project management is your central idea. Second, you develop subtopics around this central topic by connecting each one of them to the center with a line. So, you create branches from your central idea. Now, your subtopics can be project scope, project cost, human resources, procurement, quality, timelines, risks, etc. Third, you repeat the same for the subtopics, by creating more branches and connecting those to the subtopic. So, here your branches from subtopics such as human resources can be managed project team, manpower to be hired. For quality, it can be quality assurance and quality control. Similarly, for others. So, this is how a mind mapping is done. This facilitates better problem solving, complex project assignments, planning, memorizing and also brainstorming. So, this is it about mind mapping. Hope you liked it. If so, you can immediately start implementing it too. Beware of attention residue. This is a technique suggested by Cal Newport in his book, Deep Work. What it means is, when you switch from some task A to another task B, your attention doesn't immediately follow. A residue of your attention remains stuck, still thinking about the original task. They say, work in progress is mental stimulation. This makes it hard to work with the necessary focus and intensity required for deep work on the new task. As a result, you lose a little bit of productivity every time you switch tasks. So, if you are looking to maximize your productivity, what you need to do is work for extended periods on that single important task free from all distractions. Therefore, you must beware of your attention residue. In all the previous lectures, we have learned time management tools and techniques to increase effectiveness and efficiency. If you apply these tools and techniques in your professional life, you will increase your productivity. This can transform your life. You understand the correlation between the 4 P's, which is purpose, priority, productivity, and profit. This is an excerpt from the famous book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. The 4 P's of success. It begins with the purpose. Goal or purpose is a must-have. You can't score a goal without a goal post. You will aimlessly run around the soccer field. Moreover, the goal or purpose that you set must be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So, having a goal, a purpose will provide you clarity. Clarity will help you in setting your priorities. Next in the pyramid is priority. So, when you are clear about your priorities, you will start working more productively. Next in the pyramid is productivity. When you work more productively, you start profiting yourself with it. So, to conclude, profit is the byproduct of purpose, priority, and productivity. This is the 4 P's of success which can really transform your life. So, with this, we have come to the end of this course. Thank you everyone for your time and good luck. Dear folks, thank you for being with us till here. We have come to the end of this course, and here are the final few points we would like you to take away. In the previous lecture we have discussed the 4 P's of success. So, first step you need to take is to clarify your personal and professional SMART goals. Then describe each goal in a written statement. Second step, prioritize your goals under critical, enabling and nice to have and plan accordingly. Here you can use all the time management tools. This is where planning and prioritizing and time management comes to play. Finally, determine what you must do to achieve your highest priorities, enabling yourself to start working productively. This is the final strategy or tool to give it you guys, which is the 90-90-1 rule by Robin Sharma. This rule suggests, for the next 90 days, devote the first 90 minutes of your workday to the one best opportunity in your life. That means, sign out of email, turn your phone on silent, mark yourself as busy or invisible in your chat client, and do anything else you need to do to make sure you're uninterrupted. Then, whatever that project, that vision is, focus on it for 90 minutes. Do it for a period of 3 months, and guarantee you'll have made a significant amount of progress in whatever it is you've been dreaming of. And if 90 minutes, or 90 days, sounds daunting, try adapting this rule to 30-31 or 45-45-1. Problem is, we don't all have the time to do it. With the zillions of emails, meetings, and to-dos on our agendas, those longer-term, not-so-pressing tasks tend to stay on our plates, patiently waiting for us to get to them. The good news is, no matter how busy you are, you can get to them if you want to. It just takes a plan or a system. So, get started and set up a system that'll make sure you keep going. So, we have covered these many tools and techniques during this course, which are how to fix the urgent and important dilemma, eat that frog, battery level, to identify your prime time. Mind mapping technique, an alternate to your regular to-do list. Then Pareto Principle, the 80-20 rule, and how to be aware of the attention residue. The time offenders, which were procrastination and other time wasters. So, here is what we would request you to follow. Many companies have time management training for their employees, which is often delivered by outside vendors through online learning or traditional seminars or some courses that you take individually on platforms like Udemy and others. What generally happens is, people walk out of the training room with every intention of practicing effective time management, but few change their behavior in the absence of periodic reinforcement and practice. The same is true of people who read time management books and take online courses. So, if you've just finished a management workshop or course, you need to turn what you've learned into improved habits, by talking about the concepts of time management.